Can we stay here forever?
As long as you're smiling, this will always feel like home.
Then let this kingdom be your family's home forever.
In the United States and the United Kingdom, millions love stories where humans prove they are stronger than any alien empire. But one true HFY tale goes further than most people can believe. A 5-year-old human girl stopped smiling the day her father died in battle. She lived silent and broken inside a cold alien palace for months. No healer, no queen, and no one in the Crystal Dominion could bring her joy back. Then humanity's strongest soldier walked in, picked her up, and everything changed. But the truth behind this will shock you. First, you will see the exact second her laugh returned and froze an entire alien court in disbelief. Second, you will discover the hidden betrayal that almost turned her smile into a weapon of war. Third, you will learn how one gentle act by a single human soldier opened the space roads, stopped a deadly fleet, and forced a proud alien queen to choose peace. This is not just another Sci-Fi story. This is the moment humanity's heart became its greatest weapon. Let me show you exactly how this happened. In a grand alien palace far from Earth, a little human girl sat alone on cold marble steps. Her name was Leela. She was only 5 years old. Bright yellow curly hair fell around her small face. A simple flower crown rested on her head. But her eyes stayed empty. She never smiled. Not once. Not since the day her father died. Leela's father had been a brave human soldier. He fought to protect the last human colony near the crystal stars. The aliens called that place the Silver Reach. One night the sky burned red. Enemy ships came without warning. Her father pushed Leela into a small escape pod. He kissed her forehead and closed the hatch. "Live, my little star," he whispered. Then the explosion took him. Leela watched the fire from the pod window. After that day, her laughter died. She stopped smiling forever. The alien queen of the palace found the pod floating near her world. Queen Vera ruled the Crystal Dominion. She had silver blue skin and long white hair. A sharp crown of living crystals sat on her head. Her people were tall, proud, and cold. They did not understand human feelings. They saw tears as weakness. They saw smiles as strange. Queen Vera ordered her guards to bring the child inside. She did not know why she did it. Something about the silent little girl pulled at her. Leela lived in the palace for many months. Servants gave her soft clothes and sweet fruit. The queen herself sometimes watched her from the high balcony. Yet Leela never laughed. She never even curved her lips. She walked the long halls like a small ghost. Alien children tried to play with her. She only stared at the floor. At night she held a tiny photo of her father and whispered his name. The palace healers shook their heads. "The human child is broken," they said. "Her heart is frozen." Far away on Earth, news of the lost colony reached the human fleets. One name rose above all others. Commander Rex Hale. People called him humanity's strongest soldier. He had won 27 battles that should have been impossible. He once held a collapsing starship door open with his bare hands, so 300 people could escape. He fought 3 days without sleep on a frozen moon. Aliens feared his name. Humans whispered it with hope. Rex was tall and strong. His eyes were steady. His green flight suit carried the mark of Earth's finest unit. When leaders asked who should travel to the Crystal Dominion, every voice said the same word: Rex. The humans needed a peace talk. The Crystal Dominion controlled the space roads near the lost colony. Without safe passage, more human families would starve. Earth sent Commander Rex Hale as their voice. He carried no big army. He carried only one promise. He would bring the orphan girl home if she still lived. Rex's small ship landed on the crystal platform outside the palace. Alien guards in dark armor watched him with hard eyes. They had heard stories of human rage. They expected a monster. Instead, they saw a calm man step out. He walked with quiet power. His boots touched the glowing floor. Queen Vera waited at the top of the long marble stairs. Her silver skin shone under the blue crystal lights. Behind her stood lords and ladies of her court. All of them looked down at the human soldier. Rex stopped at the bottom of the stairs and gave a respectful nod. "Queen Vera," he said in a clear voice, "I come for peace, and I come for the child." The queen studied him. She had never met a human who stood so straight without fear. "The child is safe," she answered. "But she is empty. She has not smiled since the day she arrived. Your kind breaks too easily." Rex looked past the queen. In the shadows of a tall pillar, he saw a tiny figure. Yellow curls, small bare feet, a flower crown. Leela stood very still. Her eyes were wide but empty of joy. Something old and heavy sat on her small shoulders. Rex felt his chest tighten. He had seen that look before on children after war. He had sworn no child would carry it alone if he could help it. The court whispered. Some aliens laughed softly behind their hands. "The strong human comes for a broken doll," one lord said. Queen Vera raised her hand for silence. She wanted to see what the famous soldier would do. Rex took one slow step forward. Then another. He did not rush. He did not speak yet. He simply walked toward the little girl who had forgotten how to smile. Every eye in the palace followed him. The air felt heavy. Crystal lights flickered. Leela watched the tall man in the green suit come closer. She did not run. She did not hide. She only stood there with her empty eyes. Rex stopped in front of her. He knelt down on one knee so his face was level with hers. His voice was low and warm, like a father who had come home at last. "Hey, little star," he said gently. "I knew your dad. He was the bravest man I ever met. He told me to find you." Leela's lips trembled. No smile came. Not yet. But something deep inside her cracked just a little. Rex opened his strong arms. He did not grab her. He simply waited, steady as a mountain. The whole palace held its breath. For the first time in many long months, Leela moved. She took one tiny step. Then another. Her small hands reached out. Rex's arms closed around her with careful power. He lifted her as if she weighed nothing. He held her against his chest, safe and high above the cold floor. Leela's face pressed against his shoulder. The flower crown slipped slightly. And in that quiet second, something impossible began to wake inside the little girl who had not smiled since her father died. The aliens stared. Queen Vera's silver eyes widened. No one spoke. High above them, the crystal lights glowed brighter, as if the palace itself waited to see what would happen next. Rex held Leela close against his chest. His arms were strong but gentle. He felt how small and light she was. The little girl stayed still at first. Her face pressed into the green fabric of his flight suit. The whole palace stayed quiet. No one moved. Even the crystal lights seemed to hold their glow. Queen Vera watched from the stairs. Her silver eyes narrowed. She had seen many strange things in her long life, but she had never seen human hold child this way. Her lords and ladies leaned forward. Some whispered behind their hands. Others simply stared. Rex spoke again in a soft voice. "Your father was proud of you, Leela. He talked about your laugh all the time. He said it was the brightest sound in the stars." Leela's small fingers curled into his suit. Her body shook once. Then again. A tiny sound left her throat. It was not a word. It was something broken and soft. Rex kept holding her. He slowly stood up to his full height. He lifted her higher so she could see the grand hall from his arms. For the first time in many months, Leela raised her head. She looked at the tall man who carried her. His face was calm and kind. There was no pity in his eyes, only steady warmth. Something deep inside the little girl's frozen heart began to move. Her lips trembled. The empty look in her eyes cracked. A small curve formed at the corner of her mouth. Then it grew. Suddenly, a real smile broke across her face. It was shaky at first. Then it became wide and bright. Her eyes filled with light. A clear, pure laugh burst from her chest. The sound rang through the crystal hall like a bell. Every alien froze. Queen Vera's mouth opened slightly. The lords stepped back. The ladies covered their lips. None of them had ever heard the human child make a happy sound. They had believed she was empty forever. Now that bright laugh filled the cold palace and made the air feel warmer. Leela laughed again. She buried her face in Rex's neck and laughed until small tears ran down her cheeks. These were not tears of painches. They were tears of release. Rex smiled for the first time since he landed. He gently patted her back with one large hand. "There it is," he whispered. "There's that bright sound your dad loved." Queen Vera walked down the marble stairs slowly. Her long black cape trailed behind her. The crystal crown on her head caught the blue light. She stopped a few steps away from Rex and the child. Her silver blue face showed no clear emotion, but her eyes stayed fixed on Leela's smiling face. "She has not made that sound since the day she arrived," the queen said. Her voice was smooth and cold like polished stone. "What did you do to her? Human?" Rex turned slightly so the queen could see Leela clearly. The little girl still smiled. She even reached up and touched Rex's cheek with one small hand. "I reminded her she is not alone," Rex answered. "That is all." The queen studied him in silence. Around them, the court began to murmur louder. One old alien lord stepped forward. His skin was pale gray, and his robe was heavy with dark jewels. "This is dangerous," the lord said. The child was quiet and safe. Now the human fills her with wild feelings. Humans bring chaos. We have all seen it. Several other nobles nodded. Fear mixed with pride in their faces. They did not like that a single human soldier had done what their healers and servants could not do. Queen Vera raised one hand. The hall fell quiet again. She looked from Leela's happy face back to Rex. "You came for peace talks," she said. "And you came for the child. You have made her laugh. That is unexpected. But laughter does not erase the past. Your people and mine have old wounds between us." Rex kept his voice steady and respectful. "I know about the wounds. I also know more human families will suffer if we do not open the space roads. I am not here to fight. I am here to talk. And I am here to take Leela home if she wants to go." Leela's smile faded just a little when she heard the word home. She held Rex tighter. Her small arms wrapped around his neck. She did not want him to put her down. Queen Vera noticed. Something soft and almost human passed across her silver face for a short second. Then it was gone. "The child has lived under my roof," the queen said. "She has eaten my food and slept in my halls. She is not yours to simply take." Rex did not look angry. He only adjusted Leela in his arms so she sat more comfortably. She is a human child. Her father died saving others. Earth wants her back. But I will not force anything. We can talk. That is why I came. The queen turned and looked at her court. Many faces showed doubt. Some showed open dislike for the strong human who now held the laughing girl. The old lord who had spoken earlier frowned deeply. "My queen," the lord said, "do not trust this. Humans smile with one face and strike with another. He uses the child to soften you." Leela suddenly spoke. Her voice was small but clear. Everyone turned to her in surprise. She had almost never spoken above a whisper since she arrived. "He is warm," she said simply. "Like my dad." The words hung in the air. Queen Vera stared at the little girl. Rex felt Leela's head rest against his shoulder again. Her yellow curls brushed his jaw. The flower crown sat crooked now, but her smile had returned. Softer this time. The queen remained silent for a long moment. The crystal lights above them pulsed gently. Finally she spoke. "We will talk, Commander Hale, but not in front of the full court. Follow me. Bring the child. She seems unwilling to leave your arms." Rex gave a small nod. He followed the queen as she turned toward a wide hallway lined with glowing blue crystals. The nobles parted to let them pass. Many eyes followed the human soldier and the smiling girl he carried. As they walked, Leela whispered near Rex's ear, "Will you stay?" Rex answered in the same low voice, "For as long as you need, little star." Behind them the old alien lord watched with cold eyes. He leaned toward another noble and spoke too softly for most to hear. "This human is more dangerous than we thought. If the queen softens, we may need to act." The heavy doors of the private chamber closed behind Rex, Leela, and Queen Vera. The real talks were about to begin. And far above the palace, dark ships that no one had noticed yet began to move closer to the Crystal Dominion. The private chamber was quieter than the Great Hall. Soft blue light came from tall crystal walls. A long table made of smooth white stone stood in the middle. Queen Vera sat at one end. Her crystal crown glowed gently. Rex sat across from her with Leela still in his arms. The little girl rested her head on his shoulder. She did not want to let go. Queen Vera looked at them for a long time. "Your people want safe roads through my space," she said. "In return you offer trade and peace. But trust is not easy. Humans have fought many races. Some of my lords believe you only bring war." Rex kept his voice calm and clear. "We fight when we must protect our homes. We do not seek to take what is yours. The lost colony was destroyed by others, not by your people. Leela's father died stopping those attackers. More children like her will suffer if the roads stay closed. Food ships cannot pass. Families go hungry. I came to stop that." Leela lifted her head. She looked at the queen with wide eyes. "My dad was brave," she said softly. "He told me humans never leave family behind." Queen Vera's silver face softened for a moment. She had no children of her own. The sound of Leela's earlier laugh still stayed in her mind. She turned her eyes back to Rex. "You made her smile when none of us could. That gives your words more weight than I expected. Commander, I will listen." They began to talk about the space roads. Rex explained how human ships could carry goods without weapons in the Queen's territory. He promised open trade and shared knowledge. Queen Vera asked hard questions. She wanted proof that humans would keep their word. Rex answered everyone with steady honesty. He never raised his voice. He never looked weak. Leela stayed quiet most of the time. Sometimes she played with the edge of Rex's sleeve. Sometimes she smiled when he glanced at her. That small smile kept the heavy room from feeling cold. Outside the chamber, the old alien lord walked quickly through a side hall. His name was Lord Krev. His gray skin looked tight with anger. He met two other nobles in a dark corner near the Crystal Gardens. "The queen is changing," Lord Krev said in a low voice. "The human and the child are softening her heart. If she opens the roads, our power will shrink. Humans will fill our skies. We cannot allow it." One noble looked nervous. "What can we do? She is the queen." Lord Krev's eyes turned hard. "There are others who hate humans more than we do. The Shadow Fleet has waited for a chance like this. I sent word the moment the human landed. Their ships are already near our outer moons. Tonight we open a small gate in the defense shield. They will take the human soldier and the child. The queen will see that humans only bring danger. She will close her heart again." The other nobles stayed silent for a moment. Then they nodded. Fear of change made them agree. Lord Krev gave them orders and walked away into the shadows. Inside the chamber, the talks continued. Queen Vera stood and walked to a wide window. Outside, the crystal towers shone under the alien sky. I have ruled alone for many years, she said. Feelings were never part of my rule. Yet this child laughed in your arms. I cannot ignore that. Rex stood as well, still holding Leela. Compassion is not weakness. My queen, it is one of the reasons humanity survives. We protect our young. We remember our lost. That makes us strong. Leela reached out one small hand toward the queen. Queen Vera hesitated. Then she stepped closer and let the little girl's fingers touch her silver hand. The queen's eyes widened slightly at the warm contact. She trusts you completely, Queen Vera said quietly. She needs someone to trust, Rex answered. Her father gave everything so she could live. I will not fail that gift. Before the queen could reply, a sharp alarm rang through the palace. Red lights flashed along the crystal walls. A guard burst into the chamber. His armor was scratched, and his voice was full of fear. My queen, unknown ships have entered our outer shield. They came through a gap that should not exist. They are heading toward the palace. Queen Vera's face turned cold and sharp again. That is impossible. Our shields are sealed. Rex's body tensed. He pulled Leela tighter against his chest. How many ships? A full attack group, the guard said. Dark hulls. No markers. They will reach the upper atmosphere soon. Lord Krev's plan had begun. Queen Vera turned to Rex. Anger and surprise mixed in her silver eyes. Did you bring this danger to my world? Human. Rex shook his head once. His voice stayed firm. No, but I will help stop it. I did not come to start a war. I came to protect the innocent. That includes your people now. Leela's smile was gone. Her small hands held Rex's neck tightly. Fear returned to her eyes. Don't leave me, she whispered. Rex looked down at her and spoke with quiet strength. I will not leave you, little star. Not now. Not ever. Queen Vera stared at the human soldier holding the frightened child. Outside the window, dark shapes began to appear in the sky. The peaceful talks were over. Battle was coming to the Crystal Dominion, and the strongest soldier of humanity stood in the center of it with a little girl who had only just learned to smile again. Red lights flashed harder through the crystal chamber. The alarm grew louder. Queen Vera moved to a glowing wall panel and pressed her hand against it. A large map of the sky appeared. Dark ships poured through a hole in the defense shield. There were many of them. Their shapes looked sharp and hungry. They are the Shadow Fleet, the Queen said. Her voice stayed cold, but her eyes showed shock. They hide in dead space and strike without honor. Someone opened the gate for them. Rex held Leela tight. The little girl's body shook. Her yellow curls pressed against his neck. Stay with me, he told her in a calm voice. I have you. Guards rushed into the room. Their armor clanked. Queen Vera gave quick orders. Seal the inner halls. Protect the people. Find how they got through. Rex stepped forward. I can help. I have fought ships like these before. They move fast, but they break if you hit the right spot. The Queen looked at him. For a short moment, she studied the human soldier and the child in his arms. Then she nodded once. Do not make me regret this, Commander. They left the chamber together. The grand halls of the palace were no longer quiet. Alien servants ran for safety. Crystal lights turned red. Outside the tall windows, dark shapes filled the sky. Bright beams of energy began to fall toward the city. Rex ran with long, strong steps. Leela bounced gently in his arms, but he never loosened his hold. He kept one hand over her head to shield her. Queen Vera stayed close, her black cape flying behind her. Her crystal crown glowed brighter with her anger. They reached the main hall just as the first blast hit the outer walls. The marble floor shook. Dust fell from the high ceiling. A group of shadow soldiers in black armor broke through a side door. They carried heavy weapons and moved like hunters. Rex did not wait. He set Leela down behind a thick stone pillar for only a second. "Stay low, little star. Cover your ears." Then he turned and faced the enemy. The first attacker raised his weapon. Rex moved faster than anyone expected. He closed the distance in 3 steps, grabbed the weapon, and turned it against the second soldier. The fight was short and hard. Rex used his strength, his training, and his will. He fought to protect, not to destroy for joy. When 3 more enemies came, he still stood between them and the child. Leela watched from behind the pillar. Her eyes were wide with fear at first. Then she saw how Rex never let anyone get close to her. Something strong rose inside her small chest. She remembered her father's last words. She remembered the warm arms that made her laugh again. Queen Vera fought too. Her people used crystal energy blades. She moved with cold grace and struck down 2 attackers near the stairs. Yet her eyes kept returning to the human soldier. She saw him take a hard hit to the side and still refuse to fall. She saw him look back every few seconds to check on Leela. More shadow soldiers poured inches. The palace guards began to lose ground. Lord Krev appeared at the far end of the hall with a group of his own men. His gray face showed no surprise. He had planned this. "You see, my queen," Lord Krev shouted. "The human brings death. The shadow fleet follows his kind like flies. Hand him over and they may spare us." Queen Vera's silver eyes burned. "You opened the shield." Lord Krev did not deny it. "I did what was needed. Humans soften hearts and destroy worlds. The child was the bait. Now end this before we all fall." Rex heard every word. Blood ran from a cut on his arm, but he stood tall. He picked Leela up again and held her against his chest. The little girl wrapped her arms around his neck. Her voice was small but clear. "You are not alone," she said to him. "I am here." Those simple words hit Rex harder than any weapon. He looked at Queen Vera. "I did not bring this fleet, but I will help you end it. Trust me for the sake of every child in this palace." Another blast shook the hall. Part of the high ceiling cracked. A large crystal piece fell toward a group of young alien servants who had not escaped in time. Rex ran without thinking. He pushed the servants aside with one arm and shielded Leela with his body as the crystal smashed into the floor beside them. Sharp pieces cut his back. He grunted in pain but never dropped the girl. Leela's hands touched his face. Tears filled her eyes. Then, even in the middle of the noise and danger, she smiled at him. It was a small, brave smile full of trust. Queen Vera saw that smile. She saw the blood on the human's back. She saw him still standing between her people and the enemy. Something old and cold inside her chest cracked open. She raised her hand, and her voice rang across the hall like thunder. "Guards of the Crystal Dominion, the human fights for us. Lord Krev is the traitor. Take him." The palace guards turned. Lord Krev's face twisted with rage. He pulled a hidden weapon and aimed at Rex and Leela. "Then both of you die first." Rex turned his body to cover the child. Energy fire filled the air. The strongest soldier of humanity held the little girl who had finally learned to smile and prepared to face whatever came next. Energy fire lit the grand hall. Lord Krev's shot raced toward Rex and Leela. Rex turned his body fully, wrapping both arms around the little girl. The blast hit his shoulder hard. Pain burned through him, but he stayed on his feet. He never let Leela fall. Palace guards rushed Lord Krev from both sides. 2 of them knocked the weapon from his hands. Others pinned him to the cold marble floor. He shouted and struggled, but it was too late. His betrayal was clear to everyone. Queen Vera raised both hands. Bright crystal light flowed from her crown and the walls. The light formed a strong shield around the hall. Outside, her warships finally closed the hole in the defense barrier. The Shadow Fleet began to lose ships fast. Without the open gate, they could not winches. One by one, their dark vessels turned and fled into deep space. The battle inside the palace ended almost as quickly as it started. Smoke cleared. Broken crystal lay across the floor. Guards moved the last of the enemy soldiers away. Rex dropped to one knee, still holding Leela tight. Blood ran down his arm and back, but his eyes stayed on the child. Leela touched his face with both small hands. Tears ran down her cheeks, yet she smiled through them. "You kept me safe," she whispered. "Just like my dad." Rex managed a tired smile of his own. "That is what we do, little star. We protect the ones we love." Queen Vera walked toward them. Her silver skin glowed under the returning blue lights. The cold look she once wore was gone. She looked at the wounded human soldier and the smiling human child in his arms. Then she looked at Lord Krev, now bound and silent on the floor. "Take the traitor to the deep cells," she ordered. "He will face judgment for endangering our people." She turned back to Rex. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she spoke in a voice softer than before. "You could have run with the child. You could have saved only your own kind. Instead, you shielded my servants. You fought for a world that is not yours. Why?" Rex looked down at Leela, who still smiled at him with full trust. "Because she laughed again," he said simply. "And because no child should lose hope. Human or alien. That is the strength of my people. We do not leave anyone behind if we can help it." Queen Vera knelt so her crystal crown was level with Leela. The little girl reached out and gently touched the queen's silver hand once more. This time the queen did not pull away. "I have lived many years without understanding humans," Queen Vera said. "Today a child and a soldier taught me. Your heart is not a weakness, Commander Hale. It is a power I did not expect." She stood and faced her remaining lords and guards. "The space roads will open. Human ships that carry no weapons of war may pass freely. We will trade. We will talk. And this child will always have a place of honor in my palace if she wishes it." Leela looked at Rex. "Can he stay a little longer?" she asked the queen. Queen Vera almost smiled herself. "He may stay until his wounds are healed and the new peace is signed. After that, the choice will be yours, little one." Healers came and treated Rex's injuries. He never put Leela down until she finally fell asleep against his chest, still wearing her flower crown and still holding the edge of his green flight suit. For the first time since her father died, she slept with a real smile on her face. Days later, the peace agreement was sealed in the same grand hall where Leela had first laughed again. Human and alien leaders stood side by side. Rex, now healed, carried Leela one last time up the marble stairs so she could see everything. She waved at Queen Vera. The queen nodded back with quiet respect. When the time came for Rex to return to Earth, Leela did not cry. She stood tall, held his hand, and smiled. "Will you come back?" she asked. "I promise," Rex said. "And until then, remember you are never alone. Your father is proud. I am proud. And now you have friends among the stars." Leela hugged him once more. Her bright laugh filled the hall again, clearer and stronger than before. Queen Vera watched from her throne, and for the first time in many years, the great crystal palace felt warm. Far away, the story of the silent girl who learned to smile in the arms of humanity's strongest soldier spread across both worlds. It became a tale parents told their children, a reminder that even in the coldest places, one act of care could change everything. And whenever dark times came, people remembered a little girl with yellow curly hair, a flower crown, and the brave soldier who picked her up and gave her laughter back. In the end, the real power was never just strength in battle. It was the choice to pick up a broken child and refuse to let her stay broken. That single moment opened roads between worlds, stopped a war before it grew, and proved that humanity's greatest weapon had always been its heart. The little girl who once sat silent on cold marble steps now laughed under alien skies, and two races that almost remained enemies chose peace instead. What began as one soldier keeping a promise became the spark that lit a better future for both sides among the stars. If this opened your eyes to how far a single act of kindness can reach, this story shows us three simple truths. First, even the deepest pain can begin to heal when someone truly shows up. Second, real strength protects the weak instead of using them. Third, one brave heart can change the path of entire worlds. If you felt something watching Leela smile again, hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more stories like this. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the next HFY adventure. We have many more tales of human courage waiting for you. I also made a special list of the most emotional HFY stories ever told. You can join our free newsletter to get them first, plus early access to new videos. Link is right in the description. Now I want to hear from you. What moment hit you the hardest when Leela finally laughed, when Rex shielded her from the blast, or when the Queen chose peace? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. You are the reason these stories keep growing. Stay strong, stay kind, and I will see you in the next one.